welcome back to another video here at my YouTube channel. I'm happy you're here today. Before we get started on the card that I have for you today, I wanted to take just a couple of seconds and kind of just chat about some of the things going on here at my YouTube channel and my process for creating and why there seems to be often a lag between videos and things. Um, and I recognize fully that this is kind of weird with just the hands and whatnot, but I am not camera ready, so I am just not going to flip the camera around. So anyhow, I know that it has been a couple of weeks since I last posted a video. And like I said, I just wanted to kind of talk about why that is. One, I've had family in town. My daughter was recently here visiting and she recently got engaged. So we were scouting out some wedding venues and just having a lot of fun with that. And I'm also spending a lot of time with my other son who is home from college this summer. So family things are always important, and to me, they always take priority. The other reason is I really want to make sure that you all understand that when I decide to make a video, I try very hard to accomplish two things. One, to keep whatever card I'm showing you guys, whatever technique I'm showing you guys, to be authentic to my style of card making. I don't like or have any desire to do super complicated cards. I'm no different than a lot of you. I'm sure, you scroll through Pinterest and you see cards that just have fold four different ways and they're, super complicated and they look amazing. And I think, wow, that's really pretty. But I'm like, that's not me. Like, I don't want complicated cards, are just not my style. So I try very hard to keep the videos that I do for you guys, like I said, authentic to my style of card making. The other thing that often delays my video and my card making and as it relates to video uploads and stuff is trying to find things that haven't already been done or that you may not have already seen, you know, uh, 10 times in the past week. I watch probably all the same, if you're a crafter, I probably watch all the same YouTubers you do. And I want to make sure that I'm very respectful of those people or those crafters that have taken a lot of time to create new techniques and they are sharing those new techniques on their channels and stuff. And I don't, so I'm not trying to just, repeat and copy things that other crafters have done. The problem though is that I am not somebody that's going to come up with a brand new technique that you've never seen before. My creativity or my creative wheel it doesn't turn that way. So, I'm always constantly thinking about what I want to video next and trying very hard to make sure that I'm giving you guys content that is respectful of other crafters and also unique to myself and not just a repeat version, like I said, of things that you may have already seen. So, sometimes I have weeks where I'm like, it is just churning out and I can just get it done and get a video uploaded. And sometimes, it's a couple of weeks. So for those of you that continue to subscribe and stick around, please know that I do appreciate it, that I am always working behind the scenes to come up with, content that I want to share or that I think you will want to see. So thanks for listening. And now we will jump right into our card for today. Today we're going to make this fun pocket card. This is actually a card within a card, and it is the third part of the three-part series that we started a couple weeks ago with cards with extra creativity. So really simple to put together. I am going to start out with some pattern paper, and I'm going to use that final background that we did a few videos ago. Standard 4¼ by 5½ inch card base. I have a piece of pattern paper that I just picked from my stash. It measures 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a 3.5 inch white square. We're going to actually cut that in half, and that will be that will form the pocket of our card. And then finally, as I mentioned, I have the last of those stenciled backgrounds that we made. I'll put a link up in the corner so you can reference back to when we made those backgrounds, because that was a few videos ago, just to refresh your memory. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim down this piece right here. This is going to be the front of our little card insert that we will do later. And so full disclosure here, the way that you need to measure it is it will measure 3 by 4. I actually ended up in this instance cutting it incorrectly, but then I went and I fixed it later. So when I lined it up, I just didn't line it up. I lined it up at 3.5 instead of 3. But yeah, you'll need it to be 3 by 4. So you'll see me a little bit later trim that off, and that was why. So I wanted to go ahead and add a little decoration to my pocket panel here. So I just ran that 3.5 inch square through my die cutting machine with the Swiss dots embossing folder, and then I realized that I had marked on the paper how on the back side what the size needed to be for my personal preference or personal reference. And then, I embossed the wrong side, but that's okay because I only need one of these triangles. So, caught myself a little bit of a break there. So just cutting, put it in my trimmer, and I'm just going to cut straight down the middle there and cut that in half, and I'll have two triangles. Ideally, you would save the other one for another card, but like I said, I won't be able to use that other side there. And I'm going to lay my card base flat, and then I'm going to come in and just add my piece of pattern paper, the 4 by 5 1/4. Super easy. Just going to add some tape runner there. This card, I will tell you, this card took me about 2 weeks to figure out that I wanted to do it, and it took me like 20 minutes to put it together. It was super easy. But as I said in my first part of the video, I was really trying to kind of come up with a unique, and not that this is the first pocket card ever made, but I was having a hard time figuring out what I wanted to do for the final part of this series. So now I'm going to make the little pocket here with the triangle that we cut. Just be sure that you just want to put the glue on the bottom and then the side that's going to go over there close to the fold of the card. So, because obviously you need the other side open to create the pocket. So I'm just running some liquid adhesive down the sides of uh, the triangle here, just on the bottom, and like I said, on that side piece there. And I think, kind of going back to what I was saying before, I think the reason why I had such a hard time trying to figure out what I wanted the third extra creativity card to be was that I didn't want it to be a fun folding card. I wasn't trying to come up with creativity or extra creativity cards that were fun fold. And a lot of times when you start looking and researching extra creative cards or cards with creativity, you get a lot of fun fold cards, and that wasn't what I was trying to do in this series. Um, so just a little background information there for you. So now we've created our pocket. To create the insert for your card, you're going to need a 3 by 8 piece of cardstock. Now, you don't have to make a card insert, but I did because the back of my stenciled panel there was all messed up from, a previous from previous card making stuff. So you could totally just leave it as like a postcards type style, but I decided to just make a little card. So 3 by 8 piece of white cardstock scored in half, and that gives you your 3x4. And by this time, I had already realized that I had cut that incorrectly, the covered panel there incorrectly. So I fixed that. And now I'm going to just lay that right onto the front of my little card insert there. So yeah, if you make a pocket card, you can just do it you can just do your insert as a like a postcard style, and if the back is blank, you would just write your message on to the back of your panel there. So, but I decided that I one needed to do the insert, and two, I liked it as well. I had a little bit of a hangover there with my card front panel, so I'm just gonna take my scissors and I'll just trim that off super quickly. And now we've created the pocket, the little card that will go right into our pocket there. So you can see how it's coming together. And we're gonna go ahead and do a little more decoration for the card. I'm using my new stamp wheel to make some flowers with the Altenew. This is one of my Altenew Mini Delight sets that I get each month. They're just fun, cute little flowers that come with a stamp and a die cut. And I thought it would be a great way to add just a small image to um, that pocket panel in the corner there. This is my first time actually stamping with the stamp wheel. I haven't used it a whole lot yet. I'm still, figuring it out, watching some other videos, learning. It's a new tool to me, so I'm sure that like I said, I'm just trying to figure it out. There's probably at this point I know that there's much more efficient ways to use it, but you don't know how to do something unless you get in there and start using it, right? Or use a new tool unless you get in there and just start using it. So I'm just layering up my stamp here and getting that where I need it to be. And I will, a little plate here. And for me, that little blue star or blue flower that I have up there, that's my center. And like I said, I know actually by the time you see this video, I will have already watched several other stamp wheel videos. And like I said, I'm learning a little more every time I use it, so which is a good thing. Coming in with the second layer using prized ribbon. I used shaded lilac for the initial image. These are all the same colors that were used in the stencil card base that we created for that front panel. I'm just gonna put that down there, and I'll zoom in here just a little bit. I've realized I was a little far away, and then I will grab that last teeny tiny little center right there and hold that in place right where I need it to be. And it kept moving. Sometimes those little stamps, the little teeny tiny stamps, they move around a lot. So we'll come back in and pick it up with once again with my flip plate. That in there, lock that in, pick it up, and then I used Villainous Potion for this center right here, and then I will just come in and I kind of wiped off I was afraid that it would smear, so I just kind of wiped off that excess ink there, and I will just come in and stamp that little tiny center right there. Put that off to the side. And then I decided to stamp just the inside layer this time to make a little bit of a smaller image that I will cut out to go with that other flower. I didn't want to do a whole nother layered flower. I was just trying to keep the second flower a little bit smaller. So I'm going to use the darker color here, which is the Villainous Potion, but I won't be layering anymore other than just that little tiny insert here in just a few minutes. So just push that down, get that in there. And then I will use the shaded lilac for the little tiny center. And I put that in there and pick that up, my panel, flip that over, use the lighter color with the darker outline. I thought that would set that apart. And then we'll just flip that over, get that lined up where I want it to be, push that down. And those are my two little flower images that I am going to work with. Lining up the coordinating die cut over the larger flower. Super easy, using a little bit of low tack tape. And I will just keep that and hold that in place. And then I will run that through my die cutting machine. So I ran that through my die cutting machine, and then I already had some of the leaves from another project that I didn't use, so I have those there. And then the smaller flower, I just fussy cut that out really quickly with a small pair of scissors, and that was easy peasy. So now I'm just going to arrange my little flowers here and kind of see how I want them to go down here at the bottom. Get that kind of where I want it to be. And when I was doing this, I was like, oh, well, I wish I could have just taken a picture, but I used my phone to record. So I couldn't, so I just kind of had to remember where it was going. So I just going to come in with some liquid adhesive and start trying to just build that little flower panel. And I think I did a pretty good job remembering where everything went. Reach over and grab my tweezers, and I will just lay that down right there, that down. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the first little flower, kind of see where I want it to go. Zoom in here a little bit so you guys can get a bit of a better look there. Use that, and I will just lay that down. Push that where I want it to be. And then I'm going to come in with the larger flower. And I know that I wanted to pop it up on some dimensional adhesive. I wanted a little bit of dimension between the two flowers. So I just have some foam tape here. It's not fancy foam tape, but it does the job, right? So just going to kind of see, and just put that over, tear some tape off here, and I will lay that down. A couple little strips of that. Pull that off. And then there was a little piece that was hanging off, so I trimmed that with my scissors really quick. And I peeled off the back. And before I, cinch it all the way down, well, I peeled off the back here, kind of knew where I wanted it to go. And I'm going to just, at first, I'm just going to lay it down gently on the one side, but I'm not going to press it all the way down because I need to figure out where the other leaf is going to go. So I'm going to just kind of put that in there. And then I added another little piece of dimension adhesive to the back of that other leaf panel. And then I'll just tuck that underneath the flower very carefully. and then I will push it all down at one time, and that is the cute little flowers to go on the panel there. So now we're going to finish the card insert right here. I'm going to keep it super simple. I'm just going to put a die cut hello on the front. This is from Spellbinders. It cuts the shadow and the word. I'm going to cut the shadow with some silver cardstock, and then I'm going to use my I'm going to take some villainous potion onto just a piece of white cardstock. I didn't feel like moving my black mat out of the way, so I just put down a little piece of post-it paper to catch the ink and stuff. I didn't need a lot or a big section of it because it's a pretty small die cut. So, but I wanted it to match the rest of the card. So rather than trying to find a purple that matches, I just created my own purple cardstock. So I'll lay those down onto my um, it. So sorry, I got distracted there. I ran those through my machine, cut those both out, and then I'm just going to layer the die cut word onto the shadow with some liquid adhesive. Um, I had a little bit of a hard time getting it. You'll see here in a second. I had a little bit of a hard time getting the adhesive to stick to that silver foil. But so I came back in and actually added a little more glue there and really laid it down and pressed. I don't know. I think that maybe I just didn't have quite enough adhesive on it. So, but I got that all worked out. And yeah, so you can see right here, so it wasn't sticking. So I came back in and added more, a little more glue onto each side, onto each little letter there. And we'll try again. And I'll grab my tweezers, oops, and put that right on there. And I held it firm and pulled the tweezers out, and then just I let it dry for a couple minutes, and that helped as well. So that's going to be our little super easy, fun sentiment for our card panel there. So I went ahead and put the card insert inside of the pocket because I need to see where I want the sentiment to go. I don't, if I were to just take it out and do the sentiment where I would do it if I wasn't putting it in the card, then it would have been different. So I know that I want it to go a little bit higher than it would have gone if it had just been on its own, or if it had just been a card on its own. If I was only doing the card insert, I would have actually moved it down to the center, but when I put the card insert inside the pocket, I didn't like that hello all the way down there. So that's why it's kind of important for you to make sure that you're placing your insert where you want it to go before you do your sentiment. So I once again, I'm just going to pop this up onto a little bit of dimension adhesive. You could have also cut multiple die cuts out, or I could have cut multiple die cuts out. I just didn't do it that day. So I'm just going to come in and add a little bit of dimension there. And then there was a little, I wanted to add another little piece up there at the top to make it, it was a little off even there. So peel off the back. And I will get that attached there, and super easy. Down, put that right where I knew that I wanted it to go. And you have a fun, extra creative little card that is a card within a card. I think personally for me, what I would do with this card is I would write my message in the actual big card and then save the little card insert would be perfect to, maybe tape like a little gift card in or something like that to give to somebody. So super easy. This is the last of the three-part series, as I said. If you haven't seen videos 1 and 2, I highly encourage you to go back. They were fun cards that I made as well. I do appreciate you all being here. Again, thank you for joining me. Here is a quick close-up of the card for today. And thank you very much, and I will see you all again next time. Bye-bye.